heat engine, how it works. This one is piston cylinder system. Inside it, ideal gas, airtight piston. This one is crankshaft. This is flywheel. Generally it is heavy, and the heat source is Yamaha candle. We are supplying heat through this. This is we have made tray and we have filled with water. It works as heat sink. Chemistry point of view, it's a closed system, so energy can go and out. So Q1 is W plus Q2. Suppose Q1 is absorbed heat from the source. From this, W work done and the waste heat is Q2. It is released in surrounding. So at the cost of Q1, we have W work. So efficiency of heat engine is after absorbing Q1 heat, we have W work. So for 1 unit absorbed heat, how much work? The question mark stands for efficiency. So efficiency of heat engine is W by Q1. But what is W? So Q1 minus Q2 by Q1. So Q1 by Q1 is 1 minus Q2 by Q1. Q2 is released heat and Q1 is absorbed heat. Now this is ideal engine. Carnot engine. Heat engine. Carnot Sadi, a French engineer, imagined ideal heat engine. For this, the cylinder is 100% insulator. Bottom is good conductor. The rest are thermal insulator. Piston also, but piston can slide without friction. This is heat source T1. Initial stage. When the piston is here, at that instant the pressure P1, volume V1, temperature T1. And we have put this system on heat source. So it is absorbing. Q1 is going into the system. But we are increasing the volume in such a way temperature remains same. So this to this is isothermal expansion P2, V2, T1. T1 remains same. Then after within no time, we have put this on insulating stand, thermal insulator. So there is no exchange of heat between system and surrounding. So from this to this expansion is adiabatic expansion. There is no exchange of heat between system and surrounding. So T1, T2 is less than T1. Pressure also decreases because volume increases. This is the highest point. Then after within no time, this system we have put on heat sink at some lower temperature T2. So from this point to this point is P3, V3, T2, thermodynamic system, P3, V3, T2. After isothermal compression, at this stage, pressure become P4, volume V4, temperature T2. But this is decrease in volume. Okay? So temperature should be increased. But to maintain the temperature, we are sucking the heat from the system outside in the heat sink. At this stage, within no time, we have put this system on insulating stand again. So again expansion. This one is adiabatic, again compression, adiabatic compression. So P4, V4, T2, P1, V1, T1. So compression is there, so temperature increases and it again same temperature T1. So there are 4 stages in PV diagram. Focus here. PV diagram. P versus V. This is isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, adiabatic compression. We attain the same position again. So cyclic process is there. This one P1 V1 T1, P2 V2 T1, temperature remains same. then after P2 V2 T1, P3 V3 T2, delta Q0. Okay, temperature decreases. Then isothermal expansion, so P4 V4 T2, and then after P1 V1 T1. Now stage 1, isothermal expansion. So for isothermal expansion, P1 V1 equal to P2 V2, temperature remains same. And what about the work done? So we know that for isothermal process, the work done is mu R T1 into log of V2 by V1, final volume upon initial volume. But according to first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is delta U plus delta W. But delta Q is absorbed it is positive. So Q1. Delta U is 0 because of temperature remains same in this expansion. And delta W is here W1. So Q1 is W1. So Q1 is W1. It is mu R T1 into log V2 by V1. See result number 2. It is absorbed it and it is converted to work. Stage 2, adiabatic expansion. For adiabatic expansion, P2 V2 raised to gamma equal to P3 V3 raised to gamma. Gamma is Cp by Cv. So this is expansion. First stage, first position, initial position, final position. Adiabatic expansion. Sorry, initial position this one and this one final position. So it expands. So P2 V2 raised to gamma is P3 V3 raised to gamma. And in adiabatic process, we know that work done is mu R upon 1 minus gamma into final temperature minus initial temperature. Here final temperature is T2, initial temperature is T1. This is the result number 4. In this case, volume increases, so work must be positive. T2 minus T1 negative, but 1 minus gamma is also negative, so over it is positive. First law of thermodynamics says that delta Q is delta U plus delta W, but in this process delta Q is 0 and delta U is mu Cv delta T, delta W is W2. Stage 3, isothermal compression. This one, from this to this. So for isothermal compression, P3V3 equal to P4V4 and work done in this process is mu R T2 into log of final volume upon initial volume. Now from delta Q delta U plus delta W, here in this compression volume decreases, so temperature should be increased, but to maintain temperature we are absorbing heat away from the system. Heat sink absorbs heat and it's Q2. So delta Q is it should be negative, so minus Q2. Delta U is 0, delta W is W3. So Q2 is minus W3. So Q2 is negative of this. So we have changed numerator and denominator. So Q2 is mu RT2 into log V3 by V4. Okay. Now multiplying the result 1, 3, 5 and 7. This one is 1. P1 V1 equal to P2 V2. 3. P2 V2 raised to gamma equal to P3 V3 raised to gamma. 5. P3 V3 equal to P4 V4. And 7. P4 V4 raised to gamma equal to P1 V1 raised to gamma. So product of left hand side here and the product of right hand side is here. Stage 4, adiabatic compression. This one. From this to this, volume decreases. This is adiabatic compression. So there is no action between system and surrounding. Volume decreases, so temperature should increase. So T1 is greater than T2. And we know that for adiabatic compression, P4 V4 raised to gamma equal to P1 V1 raised to gamma, result number 7. Work done during adiabatic process. So mu R upon 1 minus gamma into final temperature minus initial temperature. This one is adiabatic compression. Now delta Q is delta U plus delta W for any process, but here delta Q is 0. Delta U is mu Cv delta T and delta W is W4. This work W4 and W2, this one, opposite in sign, so they add up to 0. Now multiplying the result 1 P1 V1 equal to P2 V2, result 3 P2 V2 raised to gamma equal to P3 raised to gamma, result 5 P3 V3 equal to P4 V4, and result 7 P4 V4 raised to gamma equal to P1 V1 raised to gamma. If we multiply these 4 result 1, 3, 5, 7, we have this way, this equal to this. Product of left hand side is on left hand side, product of right hand side is on right hand side. Now P1, P2, P3, P4, P2, P3, P4, P1 cut out. Here V2 raised to gamma, here V2. So V2 raised to gamma minus 1. This is V4 raised to gamma, this is V4. So here V4 raised to gamma minus 1. Here V3 raised to gamma, this is V3, so V3 raised to gamma minus 1. Here V1 raised to gamma, this is V1, so V1 raised to gamma minus 1. Readjusting the term, V2 by V1 raised to gamma minus 1 equal to V3 by V4 raised to gamma minus 1. So power same, so base must be same. So V2 by V1 equal to V3 by V4, result number 9. Now again, efficiency of heat engine is eta is 1 minus Q2 by Q1. Q2 is release rate, Q1 is absorbed rate. But what is Q1? So Q1 is this, absorbed rate is mu RT1 into log V2 by V1. And what is Q2? Release rate mu RT2 into log V3 by V4. So replacing Q2 and Q1, 1 minus Q2 is mu RT2 into log V3 by V4. Q1 is mu RT1 log V2 by V1. These two terms are same because of these two are same. Mu R cut out. So finally we got eta is 1 minus T2 by T1. T2 is sink temperature of surrounding, and T1 is source temperature in Kelvin. So efficiency of heat engine is given by 1 minus T2 by T1, T2 sink temperature, T1 source temperature. But the minimum possible value of temperature, sink temperature, is nearly 0 Kelvin, but we cannot make exactly this. Okay, so this term we can't make 0. For this, T2 should be 0 Kelvin or T1 should be infinite. Both are not possible anyway. So for ideal heat engine also, efficiency cannot be 100%.